terms and vocabulary. They can be used for helping kids develop a deeper understanding of the significance of famous people and places and events and things of that nature. Essentially, this is similar to a frame in that you have an is-about statement, which is basically the gist of what the whole thing is about. And so what we'll do here is we'll have kids write the gist of the definition, and then down in the middle we'll have them list the essential details or the specifics. So this is similar to the main idea of the term and then the essential details of the term. This section, what we have kids do is to come up with an example of the concept or what this concept is like, and then likewise we have them come up with a non-example or what it's not like. This section over here, what we do is we have kids list background knowledge connections, which is anything from their own background knowledge or experience that this term or concept reminds them of. And then down at the bottom, what we'll have them do is compose a sample sentence using the term. This is a variation on the clarifying table. This one focuses on the significance of a person or famous person or people. And so, again, you list the person at the top, and then a statement, this is about someone who, and then you list who this is about. And this next section are ways to describe this person, and then what they're known for, what they're not known for, or don't confuse this with, impact of that famous person on our world today, and then somebody from today's world that this person is like or not like, and because. And so an example of this would be Martin Luther King is about someone who led the civil rights movement and created huge changes in our society. Ways to describe him: he was very religious, great speaker and motivator. He was an African American, incredibly brave and patient. He had human flaws like everybody else. He was known for peaceful resistance, and he walked the talk because he modeled peaceful resistance, and he got arrested many times. He's also known for his "I have a dream" speech, etc. What he was not known for, or don't confuse with, in this case we came up with Malcolm X. So you don't want to confuse Martin Luther King with Malcolm X, because Malcolm X advocating forcing change by any means, including force or violence if necessary. But he was also a good speaker with many followers, and he was also very religious, and he was also assassinated, and of course he was also a leader of the civil rights movement. In terms of King impact on our world today, of course the civil rights of minorities are ensured, at least legally, and then although racism still abounds, there's a lot less of it than there once was. Somebody's from today's world that this person is like or not like. Kids came up with Jimmy Carter, because he's also very religious, and he devoted his life to making peace happen and helping people in need, and he walked the talk too. So if you're teaching an abstract concept, for an example, and you want to use a concept table, you could click on graphic color, and so one of those comes up that you can print out and use. If you'd like to see an example of that, then here's one on imperialism from social studies. If you'd like to see an example of how the famous version of the person version of this is used, then here's the same one on Martin Luther King. And so later on, when you're sort of touring on your own and you're exploring various aspects of this software, you can sort of click through these and look at the different examples. For example, on an important place, Harper's Ferry, it's an important place because, and then ways to describe this place. Important actions that took place here, why the actions were important, impact on our world today, and this place is not known for, don't confuse this place with something else, etc. So these are really great tools for helping kind of get into more depth of understanding about specific concepts that you're teaching, or people, persons, places, and events, and things of that nature. In addition to the resources, which are the basic graphic organizer forms and tables and charts and so forth, all of these have in-depth explanations that can go with it. So for an example, under graphic organizers, if you click on menu, and so there are a variety of places that you can visit if you want to read more and gain more in-depth information about any given particular tool. For an example, how do you construct a graphic organizer? If you click on that, there's a little mini chapter that explains that. Notice that a lot of these will have audio connections with them that you can click on. If you don't want to read it, you can just listen to that section. Project-based learning is one of my favorite sections in this software, and this is how do you get kids involved in meaningful activities that get them focused on conducting research and doing investigations for class. And so just to visit the menu, I'm going to go down to the resource section because there's some really cool resources. Basically, this is an organizer device that helps kids sort of structure or plan the major tasks involved in conducting their project. And so what they do is they list the various tasks involved that they have to do, and then for each task they reveal the resources that they could use to help them get this task done. Now these can be human resources, or they can be print resources, or electronic, or whatnot. And then this section, assign duties, which is who does what by when. And then we have kids forecast barriers. So this is done in terms of if-then. So if this problem occurs, then target solutions. What are we going to do? So essentially, we list all the tasks that are involved in this project, and then for each task, reveal the resources, who does what by when, anticipate the barriers, and then anticipate solutions to those barriers before they happen. So we're teaching kids to be more systematic in their planning using the draft plans think sheet. An example of that, you can just click on example. Now, I won't go through the whole example now, but you can visit that and get a sense of what that looks like. Another one of my favorite forms in the software is something called commitments, or the commitments think sheet. And what we do here, this is designed to help kids facilitate goal setting, and particularly in the area of working together collaboratively and developing effective habits of the mind. So for an example, one of the things they do when they're planning their project is they set goals for collaborating. And so this is a think sheet that's designed to help them think of different types of collaborative goals that might be set. For an example, listening without interrupting, turn-taking and involving everyone, offering assistance, communicating about difficulties, respecting different opinions, skills, and abilities, and encouraging and complimenting. And then over here some pretty sophisticated ones like consensus building and giving negative feedback, peacefully resolving conflicts, and so forth. Now, so what we'll have kids do is target 3 of these when they're working on a project, not all of them, but they set 3 as specific goals, and then part of their evaluation is based on how well they implemented the 3 they targeted as goals. Likewise, we can do something similar with effective habits of the mind, such as using and keeping timelines, resisting impulsiveness, engaging in challenging tasks rather than just doing the easy thing, organizing ideas and being clear, being open-minded, being creative, etc. And so this can be used to facilitate goal setting. Likewise, there are a number of resources that you can use for conducting investigations or planning presentations. For an example, just quickly visit this spot, conducting investigations. One of the things that can be really useful is that kids typically, when they're conducting research, they kind of go to the encyclopedia and they look up an article and they copy it. And what we're trying to do is to break out of that mold in terms of having them look and find a variety of different information sources. And this is a think sheet just to help them think about what are different resources to consider. And so they would list their topic, and then here are a variety of different print resources such as electronic and non-electronic. A number of human resources to consider, such as interviews with experts or interviews with people with unique experiences related to the topic, or at least somebody that might be able to point us to other resources. And then there are a variety of media resources as well as experiences such as places to visit or things to do. So this particular think sheet is just designed to help them think through what are the possible resources that we might tap into. And so you have that available to you on the software, and then if you'd like to see an example of what that looks like,